Hey guys, as promised, we are going to walk together through the Module 4 Discussion 1 Group Critical Appraisal of a Method section. So, by this time, you should have already completed the readings. You should have already listened to the lecture slash PowerPoint that has been provided to you and that's uploaded within Module 4. And you should have already looked through the article that we are going to be discussing. So that way you already have an idea of what you're looking for while I'm going through it with you. Okay? Again, this is the module 4 um, discussion 1 group of critical appraisal. And remember, I updated the article so you will see that here. And there's this nice little note that says note to change. And the article that you're looking for, you can click on right there. Okay? So I already have the article up. So I'm just going to go to it. This is the article that we're looking at. This is the article you should be using. Now I would suggest printing this out while we are walking through this and highlighting the sections or the things that we are going to be discussing. That way it makes it easier. Okay? With that being said, you are also provided with a tool to use for while you're appraising an article. So let's go back and look at that tool. So in module 4, you are provided with this tool for assessing risk of bias. Okay, this is a tool that you will use to help you critically appraise your article. And these are the things that we're going to be discussing. And it might be best to also print this out and circle it or write on it, scribble on it as you go or as we go through the article. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and go to the article again. So this is what we're looking at. Oh, one more thing I want to talk to you about. There are some terms that we went over within the readings and a little bit we talked about within the PowerPoint. These are the terms that you should know because these are things that you are going to be looking for within the article that we are appraising. Okay, so we have it internal validity, external validity, reliability, deciding whether the information is applicable, and generalizability. Okay, so these are the things that you are going to be looking for within your article. Alright, so you guys should have these terms already, and if you want to rewrite them down, you can always pause this video and you will have them again. So, now let's kind of go back to the article. So, this is the research article we're looking at. Okay? Now, generally, the first thing you do when you begin appraising evidence is you want to look at the PICO question. If you haven't already done so, and then I would suggest comparing your PICO question with the PICO question of the study. Again, generally, you can find the focus question within the introduction, like at the very end of the introduction. Or within the background information. So it should be somewhere in this section. Let's see. Okay. So generally you'll find it right in this section, okay? I didn't triple check, but I can read it. To deal with this gap in the literature and to determine whether podiatry has a role in fall prevention, we carried out a randomized control to determine the effectiveness of a novel. So this is what you are looking for. So this is a good example. Let's see if I can highlight that. So generally, you would use the introduction section or the background section somewhere within there to decide if that PICO question is relevant to what you are looking for. If it's not, then there's really no point in reading the article because, well, it's not information you need at this time and you're looking for a certain thing. So, unless you just want to read the article, then that's fine. But if you're looking it to be specific to the question you're asking, then you may not want to continue reading or moving forward with appraising the study if it's not applicable to what you want to find out. Okay. Um, Deciding whether the evidence is applicable that's where external validity or generalizability of search results comes in. You're searching for those things within the article to decide if you want to use it or not, okay? And as we've discussed, you will use your PICO method to construct your clinical question, and you always want to make sure you think about how you would structure it for your paper, or what are you trying to say. So for this particular article, if we kind of talked about the PICO question would be, just breaking it down as far as population, it would be community dwelling, aged over 65 years with disabling foot pain. Um, the intervention would be the intervention package, footwear, education, exercise. The comparison for this one is no intervention apart from usual podiatry treatment. And the outcome that you would be looking at would be reduction in falls, because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at reduction in falls. Okay, so let's just take an overview. Just do an overview of what you see in the article. Within the article, you see the abstract. Okay, this is just kind of breaking it down for you. A few things. You read the abstract. You decide if you really want to read more. From there, sorry, I passed it. You have your introduction. Introduction, breaks you into the article, tells you what you're talking about. Then you have the method section, which has a lot of information. Is the area that we're really going to be looking at and tailoring to today. And within, you also have outcomes. You'll have results. Sorry, I know I'm going through this pretty quickly. And then you will have some charts displaying more information. You will have a discussion section. This is more detailed information. More charts, graphs. And then you will have your conclusion. And then all your lovely references. Okay? Alright, so let's excuse me, let's get started with looking at this. So the first thing you're going to ask yourself when you're looking at this is, what's the recruitment? Were the subjects representative of the target population? Okay, and I don't want to give you the answers because this is what we're using for our first discussion post, but I want to lead you to where to look. So if you were looking for recruitment, you would generally look within the early parts of the method section, okay? So generally, if you go to the method section, sorry, I have to go back up. Within the method section here, this area, it will generally explain to you the recruitment process, like were consents needed, what was the commitment for the entire trial, things like that. And if you want, okay, so the method section will provide you with the recruitment tools that were used. So let's see, let's just kind of point to it. So we recruited participants by post using a database of people who are assessing podiatry services. This is something to look at, and then within there you'll find a little bit more information. Now if you want to look further into recruitment, then you can look at the discussion section, and this will tell you the limitations regarding recruitment. Okay, so the discussion section, which is down here, okay, the discussion section will provide you with limitations of the recruitment. So you will find strengths and limitations within this section. This will give you more information to use for recruitment. So look in this section here, okay? And let's see if I can find an example for you. Here you go. Strengths and limitations of the study. Within this section, you'll be able to find more information about recruitment. All right, so the first thing you're looking at is recruitment. And the reason why we're looking at these things, I should have said this ahead of time, because the type of trial that we're looking at, or the study is using what type of trial? It's using a randomized controlled trial. And how do we know? Because within the design, it says it's a parallel group or randomized controlled trial. And if you ever, just for extra information, if you ever want to look up more information on randomized controlled trials, generally you'll see something like this that has trial registration. Um, this will provide you with, if you go to the website, like for us it's clinicaltrials.gov, it gives you all the basic information of that particular trial that you look at, and that's public information. So just FYI. All right, so first we look at recruitment. The next thing we're going to look at is the sample power. You want to ask yourself, was the sample adequately powered? Okay, and that's where we kind of review your statistics. And to find this information, you would go back down to your method section. So let's go to method section, and you should find that information right here in trial design. So you should see the number of individuals that were in each group. So you'll see numbers here, how many participants they were looking for, how many were in each group, things like that. Okay, again, I don't want to give you all of it, but I want to make sure you know where to find it. So within the trial design, you'll find out if the sample was adequately powered. Okay. The next thing to look at is allocation, and that means, was the randomization method unbiased? And where would you look for this information? Well, we're still within the method section, so if you want to see more information about randomization, you could actually just go to the section of randomization, and it breaks it down for you. What did they use? So like for this particular trial, for randomization, they used a interactive response or voice response telephone service, which is usually called an IVRS. Okay? It's very popular. So instead of relying on the clinician or investigators to make the call, then or to make the decision of how to randomize them, you would just call up on the phone and it would be connected to the trial and they can randomize for you. Alright, there will be a part 2 to this video because I'm running out of time. So watch part 2 for the rest. The next question that we're going to ask, or the next thing that we're going to look at, is maintenance. So that's where we left off.